them parts of my journey are fun, man. Why am I ever going to write off them bits? It's part of my book. I don't regret nothing. If you see what I've gone through to be where I am today, you wouldn't want... If I actually said to you, you can have all of this, everything that I've got, but you're going to have to go through these few years of doing this, I promise you now you wouldn't do it. For the last 3 years of me doing TOWIE, I'd gone clear. I didn't have to do TOWIE. I'd done it to support my missus. What's money?
Nothing.
You can lose it all tomorrow. F*** money. But if this all stops tomorrow, can you finish your book?
No.
I'm not even quarter way through. The book's going to be... Who the f***'s going to read my book?
Who's going to watch the film?
I ain't finished. I've got so many more scores to settle here, man.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to the CEOCAST, the #1 place for showcasing business and entrepreneurship. Now, today, I've been waiting a bloody long time for this episode, Tommy. What are you saying, bro?
Finally, brother.
It's been months.
You know what it is when I do these sort of chats, the story changes quite often, yeah?
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep telling the same story, so I have to wait for a little bit of thing to happen in between before I do my next podcast.
Yeah,
and I've not done much, but... Yeah, yours was a big one for me to do, so I thought I'd wait until I had more of a story to tell, innit?
I appreciate you jumping on, man. But yeah, man, as well as that, you know, every time we try and organise something, you're always out of the country, something like that, or I'm somewhere else, you know, but it's finally good to come and sit down in the showroom as well, which is beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And make it happen, man. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and set the bell notification to all so you never miss a single episode.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is our new London showroom, and the concept behind it when I done it was... to make sure that I can invite people in and show people the journey a bit easier now, instead of just sitting in like an office with four walls.
Yeah.
Being able to talk through people and show them like where the brand's going and the direction of it. So yeah, it's a new creative space that we put together, and it's working really well at the minute.
So this is more for like corporate meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can't shop in here. This is a showroom for people from like corporations to come in and look at the product, and it's a design space downstairs for all the staff.
Yeah, sick. What's everything else saying, man? What's life saying? How's it treating you?
Yeah, all good, man.
Yeah? Been busy?
Yeah, everything's busy at the minute. But I'm at that stage now where I'm 30. I've just turned 30, and I've got a 1-year-old, and the business is smashing it more than ever. We're selling in more countries. There's more time zones. Obviously, with the success, you start facing different bits and pieces that come with it. So I'm really working on like this journey of trying to balance my life at the minute.
Yeah.
So when you've got an obsession like I have for success for the business, doing it is such a hard task. But I'm trying to be a dad. I'm trying to be a fiance. I'm trying to be a boss. I'm trying to still grow the brand. It's just mad at the minute, but yeah, I'm all right at the minute.
Tell me, how are you balancing them challenges? Obviously, like you said, as a business grows and you're expanding all over different countries, different stores, how are you balancing that as, you know, it's happening at a rapid pace?
I'm not.
You're not?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have nothing in order.
Is it?
Nothing's in order.
So when you look at your life right now, what's it saying? Like,
it's a mess.
Fair play. But do you think
mess.
that's just a natural business sort of thing?
Yeah, I love being like this.
Yeah?
Look, for me, yeah, is I've got this personality where I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable with things, yeah? I've gone through so much over the last few years to get where we are today. When things go normal and quiet, I get worried. I think everything's coming to a standstill.
Yeah.
So I need to be fighting constantly. And I don't know if it's something that my mental health demands me to do. Because if I go quiet, I start thinking too much, and I might not be all right being alone with myself, innit? But it's a challenge. It's a challenge, man, where we are at the minute. I love it, but it's a challenge. It's like...
Challenges make you grow, though. Get out of the comfort zone and then, 100%.
You know... I've not been in a comfort zone since 2014.
Is it?
Not at all.
So when you feel like you get to a comfort zone or you're stepping into one, how do you break out of that?
I've not been in one.
Never?
No.
Not even come close to it?
No. Because I don't look at none of this like it's the final destination. So what we've got here is the start. But
psychologically reversing that, right? Not being in the comfort zone for a very long time, would you say that feels like a comfort zone because you're so used to it?
I'm used to it. This is me. That's what I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've not been comfortable for years. Like I had some health news like in April, so I felt a little bit lethargic and things like that. And it was a really big lesson for me. So sometimes you have to stop, sit back and fix yourself, yeah? And I was on the scale of being borderline diabetic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Okay. And I was 101 kilos. And they was like, look, you need to get down to 90 kilos.
Yeah.
And I've done it in 2 months. And I reversed it and I've got myself out of it. And even that, I'm such a sicko. I loved it. I loved having the challenge of having to better myself. So when I'm not bettering myself, I feel like I'm failing. And am I going to be able to live forever like this? Definitely not. But I'm sort of getting to the point now where I'm starting to enjoy myself by building other people up and teach other people stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my new challenge. So yeah, life's crazy, man.
Let's talk about your plans for later on in life, later on in this podcast, right? But let's just to step it back for a second, talk about, the brand. So obviously, if people watching this are either going to know you from two places, either TOWIE, or they're going to know you more from Mallet, or a bit of both, to be fair.
Yeah.
I know you more from Mallet because obviously, business podcast, whatnot, but also know you from TOWIE as well.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't necessarily know how you started this brand, let's just run over that briefly.
So I started TOWIE in 2014, and it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Now I look back at it and I don't feel like there's a stigma attached to the old reality TV thing. When I started the show, I was young. I was a complete different person to who I am today. I was dying for success. I thought that my whole morals was different when I started that show. Everything was about success to me. Everything was about money. It was completely different to where I am today. So I still chase success, but I'm not chasing money. I'm chasing legacy, yeah? But when I started that show, I was skint. And I wanted all the good things, but I couldn't afford the life, yeah? And TOWIE never worked for me for the first few years. So Mallet was born. I wanted to make something which was affordable, but still on a luxury scale. So I wanted to be able to go into Harrods and Selfridges, but be able to buy something which is more affordable.
Yep.
So people get this misconstrued, yeah, because they think I was trying to make a cheap brand. I wasn't. There was a million cheap brands around the time. I wanted to make something that could sit next to the big brands, the high-end French brands we call them, and the Italian brands.
Yeah.
Be from London, have a story attached to it, and be more affordable.
Much better price point.
But I didn't want it so you could go and buy 100 pairs a month of it. I wanted it so
it's exclusive. You feel like you got to work.
You could still work for it. I
Yeah.
used to work 7 days a week as a carpenter and a labourer, and I used to wait to go at the end of the month to go and buy sneakers. And that was how my life was for years. But I couldn't afford these big luxury ones, and they all come out of nowhere. The big prices of these shoes. That shoes used to be £400, yeah. Now shoes are like £1,200, and people actually pay it.
Yeah, you got that end of it, and then you also got. I remember when I was shopping for trainers in year 11 times, your Nikes Air Forces would be like 50 quid or something like that, and now they're like 150
150
£2 more
That's
times.
what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's how it started. I basically, for everything I've done during my life, yeah, the only way I can put down to it is I've always had to go back to what I was when I was a kid for me to go forward. And I've gone through every emotion I'm from around here, I'm from Islington, yeah? I'm from North. And I always put myself back to how I was feeling at the time of year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, when I was growing up and becoming more trendy, what I wanted, how much pressure I put my mum under, and how I made things achievable. So I wanted to just make something which could be the brand of the people, but weren't something that was going to last 5 minutes, something that had a really bit of oomph behind
Longevity.
it. And when I started it, people didn't have any belief in it. How's this guy from TOWIE going to go and do that? But I'm stocked in the best department stores in the world now, and I'm a force to be reckoned with in fashion.
How does that make you feel? From that point there to being stocked in Harrods, Selfridges, all over.
There's no feeling attached to it.
No feeling attached
I'm
to it.
not finished.
Just business.
Yeah, well, I need to conquer Africa. I need to conquer Asia. I need to conquer. I've got India. I've got places like that I want to start working with. I'm looking at things in Pakistan. I'm not finished. I've got so much work to do.
That's mad.
I've got stores in Saudi Arabia. I've got stores in Dubai. I've got stores in South Africa, America, Canada, Australia. I can go on for days.
Yeah, I know, bro.
I don't want to feel complacent behind it because I can clap myself for 5 minutes and clap for my team and our partners. But when it comes to it, is the day that you sit back and look at how far you've actually come, you can maybe get a little bit complacent. And where I'm looking to take this brand over the next 5-10 years is I want to leave something for my family, which is the big thing. There's so much room for where I'm going with this.
You mentioned that you grew up in Islington around here, right? Yeah. And I know on Lewis's podcast, you basically said that you grew up and it was a bit of a mad childhood.
Yeah.
What sort of mad stuff did you get up to?
Listen, I would live a life of any other kid from London, yeah? And I think the way that we grew up in the last 10, 15 years ago is different to the way things was now. We was all street kids, innit?
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is when you got selected for TOWIE, basically, were you already known Like from the mad stuff that you were doing, pretty much. Or...
Yeah, I'd say that I had a little bit of a presence in the area, yeah.
Okay.
But not from doing anything bad. More so, I was always witty, man. I was always dressed well. I was always lad. I always got in with the right people. I had a lot of older friends and things like that. Yeah, you can imagine, innit? I'm saving it for the film. I've got to save some bits about my life.
Yeah, film coming out soon.
You know what I'm saying? It won't be
Documentary.
soon. When everything's said and done,
Yeah.
and I tell my story, there's a lot more to peel off from me than what I say about.
Now, you know what, to be fair, it is sick though, because I see your TikToks and your Instagram, you know, posts all the time where like you're driving around in your car saying, look, this is where I grew up and all that sort of stuff. Like that stuff is quite sick because it shows where you've come from and you're kind of going back to the area in what you've been able to build.
Yeah, and the best thing from where I come from as well is the morals that I've been given. You can't buy that, man. You can't, the things that I've seen and the things that I've been through over the last like 30 years of my life. I'm still so young. When I say I'm 30, I can't actually believe it, man.
30 years young.
I feel so older, man, compared to like, I feel like I've done everything. But the morals that I've got and the people I grew up with, is priceless. And for me to be able to drum them into my son, even though he's going to have a complete different background to what I've grew up in, is priceless. And I've got so much love from people, and the way that I treat people even is so different to how people are from where I live now. It's mental.
Talk to me, Tommy. What was your upbringing like then? Household upbringing?
My upbringing was good. My mum used to work 2 jobs. So my dad was a financial advisor. So my dad actually had a good job, yeah. And he got hit in the 2008 recession. So that made things tough, yeah. We moved out of London to Essex. But my mum was a receptionist in a hairdresser's. And my mum's hairdresser was in Highbury, she used to work in. And my school was in Essex Road, yeah. It's around a 20-minute walk.
Which school did you go to?
I went to St. Aloysius. It's in Holloway, like the end of Holloway, like Archway.
Okay. Not Essex then?
No. I grew up in Islington, and in my later life I moved to Essex, and I've done a few years in an Essex school there. But my childhood was very much based around me watching my mum and dad work endlessly to give us stuff, yeah? And we always felt lucky as kids because my mum used to work in hairdressers, and I used to walk up to the hairdressers, and then when I used to wait downstairs in the stock room for her to finish work for like 3 hours, yeah? And she used to let me buy sweets on that day because I was waiting downstairs. And little values that I picked up from that. So on the way home, she made it like a movie for me. It didn't feel like my family was struggling, and I don't know even if they was. I just can't ask them about it because they'll never admit it. But I used to leave my mum's work, and on the way home, she used to clean someone's house, and I used to sit there watching her clean the house, and I'd watch telly, and that was like my normal life for me. And the admiration I got from our family now, as now I'm older and I'm a parent, to see how much hard they actually work to give us the standard things in life, yeah? It's crazy. Like, I remember my mum having these big lines on her arm, yeah? Because the shopping bag was so heavy, she used to get on the bus with me on the way back from her other job. This is at 7 at night now, carrying the shopping, and it was digging into her arms because it was so heavy. And to me, that was normal. I used to jump on the 38 bus, and back in the day, you used to jump on the back of it and used to jump off the back of it.
Yeah.
We used to jib it when we could. We used to get caught sometimes and things like that. But all of that part of my childhood was like, for me, it was fun. My mum and dad made my childhood fun, yeah? But when I look at it now, it must have been a struggle for them. Me and my brother shared a room, and we was talking about this yesterday, yeah? Me and my mum. We were sharing a room, me and my brother, for years. We had like a one up, one down house in Islington, yeah? And on Christmas Eve, one year we got robbed. Someone broke in and robbed all the stuff. And the year after, the kitchen was upstairs from my brother and mine's bedroom. A pipe burst and the whole ceiling fell down on me and my brother on Christmas Eve, yeah? And for us, that was so normal. But it's normal for most people.
Yeah.
But all of them things shaped me to what I am today. And that's why I'm different. I feel so different to other people because of the things that I've been through.
What do you think Brody's upbringing is going to be like then?
It's going to be completely different.
How so? Like,
He's being brought into wealth, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's probably going to go to a private school.
But would you show him all that? Like,
of course.
Yeah?
Of course. My family is still there. My friends are still there. My morals are still there. I don't feel like I'm from Essex because I was brought up in Islington. I don't feel like it. Yeah, it's going to be a mad old... It's going to be hard, isn't it?
But don't you think... Because I'm just imagining it, right? People... Like, if you show someone wealth from them when they're young, they might lose that little bit of hunger, for example, that you would have had when you were younger.
100%.
So then how do you install that within Brody? whilst also
I
showing
don't
him...
want Brody to be like me.
Oh, because how do you want him to be?
I want him to enjoy his life and be content with life
Find
instead
his
of
own
being
feet.
like me.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like me. Everyone looks at it from the outside and it's a big inspirational story. If you see what I've gone through to be where I am today, you wouldn't want... If I actually said to you, you can have all of this, everything that I've got, but you're going to have to go through these few years of doing this, I promise you now you wouldn't do it.
What sort of stuff?
Mental issues, breakups, family issues, losing friends, losing trust, like being let down. Like my main business advice, and you're probably going to ask me this later, get used to being fucked over. When the early days, people are going to put their arms around you and they're going to see something in you, but they're going to do a Don King on you, man. You see Don King when he knocked everyone for the money, the boxing promoter. Yeah. There's a million of him out there who are going to promise you the world and they're going to help you a little bit, but your talent is going to get you to there.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But what you think is you're being helped. And somewhere down the line, you'll then find a relationship with these people and you're trusting them and you'll call them family. And the next thing you know, you're in a legal battle with them. You have to be used to that stuff. That's not normal life. So then what you do is then you end up losing your trust in people. And then you just become a machine. And then you can't be spoken to because everything's business. So that's the answer to the question. I don't want Brody to be spoiled. I want him to have get up and go. He's going to be brought into wealth. I'm his dad.
Yeah.
He's going to be coming to America. He's going to see my stores around the world. But he's going to be taught morals. I ain't going to be able to teach him to be like me. Because there ain't going to be many people like me. Because I've taken... My brother's not like me, but my brother's a really successful man. But my brother can probably switch off a little bit more. I can't. Because I've just looked at my whole life. It's like... I feel like I'm in a film.
It's always go.
It's always go. I'm like, and I don't want it to slow down.
Do you ever switch off even when you're at home? Never.
No, never.
So how do you balance your time with Brody, Georgia, and work as well? Because if you got work running through your head 24/7, then you know at home you can't switch off. How does that impact you?
Can I be honest with you about something?
Go on.
I'm going tomorrow and being tested to see if I've got ADHD.
Yeah.
Because the way that I am as a person isn't normal and it isn't sustainable. And 1 minute I'm cool, and then the next minute I'm like, I've got so much on my mind that I can't even be approached. Everything gets to me. So 1 minute I'll be sweet with Georgia and the baby, and then the next minute I'm just like, I'll have to go to my office. And then I'm there, I'll pick Brody up first thing in the morning, I'll feed him in the morning, that's my few hours with him. But then sometimes, if I know that I'm going through a load of madness, I try and keep my distance from everyone. But I still probably see him more than what most people do because I'm flexible with how I can work. Yeah. So I'm like a few hours a day with a baby and things.
I remember when I wanted to first do this podcast, I mentioned to you, let's do it after 7. You were like, nah, mate, I want to get home to my kids.
Yeah. So like, I've learned the power of saying no as well, and that's an important part of the balance.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to sit down with people like you, who are inspirational, because I've seen your stuff, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say a different, I don't know about inspiration.
Why not?
What's there to be inspired from?
Well, so there's not a kid out there who wants to grow up and be have a podcast and
maybe,
talk to people
but
like
I don't see it like that. Like I don't see myself in that sort of position of being inspirational
you are.
yet. I appreciate that.
Because you're sitting with me, you think you're not inspirational.
Do you know what it is? I think that the nature of the podcast is about businesses, right?
Yeah.
Successful businesses like yours. So when I'm looking at it in my perspective, I'm like, yo, like, who's going to look up to me? Everyone's going to be looking up to the guest. But I'm happy with that.
Why?
I'm cool with that.
Do you think everyone can answer questions and ask questions?
It's just
This ain't an
conversation.
interview with me and you, yeah, but I can if you want. Listen to me, yeah?
I know you've mentioned you want to do this. You do this on the podcast as well.
When I speak to people, yeah, it can last 5 minutes or it can last 2 hours, and that goes on how you're asking me the questions.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, you can be inspirational, man. People are looking up to what you're doing. You've done well. I knew who you was, so you got to be doing something right, innit?
I hear that. No, I appreciate that. I think one day, I don't know, maybe when I see it. Right now, the podcast is still small in my eyes, and this, like, you know, exactly like you're saying, yeah. You see the Mallet going so much more further than where it is right now. So you are an inspiration, of course, but in your head, you got so much more to do yet. And I think that's like what it's like for me as well.
Yeah, we'll keep that hunger, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're doing well, man.
No, I appreciate
I don't
that.
do small things, so you ain't a small podcast.
My God. But I want to dive back to TOWIE, right? So when you signed up into TOWIE, basically, when you got into TOWIE, were you in Georgia then, or did you meet her in TOWIE?
We're just getting together.
What? So in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Did you know her before?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
It was a mad time. Me and Georgia started seeing each other just before I went on the show.
So you would have been what, 19, 20?
No, I was 21.
21.
21, yeah.
Okay.
20, just turned 21, and I started Mallet when I was 22.
So I have a question then, yeah? And I'm asking for a friend. How do you know when she's the one?
You don't.
So then what? Because you recently got engaged to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you must
Depends
have an
what
answer.
day you ask me, innit? It depends. Listen, if I've just had beef with her, yeah, then my answer's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, it is. It's my advice to anyone, yeah, is I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done business-wise if it wasn't for Georgia.
Why is that?
Because when I was single, all you care about is getting ready, going out and doing your thing, yeah? But then someone comes along, which for a week, you don't know if it's going to work. And then week after, you're still seeing each other. And then it just drags on, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? It just ends up being, you've been together 2 years and you're like, you know what, actually? Yeah, this is me. And I did know quite early, actually, because I actually cared what she thought of me. I was bothered at what she thought of me as a person. And I wanted to do better. I didn't want to be known as a player or a wrong-un.
So how long into knowing her did you want
I think
her
it was
to think
quite
that you're...
quick, actually, you know?
Yeah?
I think so, yeah. I think I had like a bit of a mad few years from like 16 to like 21 where I had done everything I wanted to do. And I wanted to build a stable relationship so I could go and follow my dreams.
Yeah.
You can't do it by yourself. It's hard, man. It's quite hard to do it by yourself. Who are you going to talk to about it? It's hard to celebrate things with your friends all the time. Because if your friends ain't doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
it just seems like you're always talking about yourself, doesn't it?
No, 100%. You see, having a missus, right? Do you think that helps with the motivation factor and the hunger to keep going, essentially?
Listen, as I said, I don't really put myself down as being a normal person. So I can't really answer that for everyone else because I'm motivated by so many other things. I'm motivated by things that have happened in my life, wanting to do better for my family, wanting to prove points to people. There's a million things that drive me to where I am today.
Do you know what it is, yeah? Recently, because of that, I've just found a new form of motivation to just kill it even more. To basically be free and travel up, go wherever sort of
That's
thing.
good, isn't it?
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's good.
That's what I'm trying to
Exactly.
ask,
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, the same thing. I don't know, man. Look, I think I think what it needs is you need for you to be level-headed. Yeah, you can't always have your mates gassing you up. You need someone that's going to tell you when
Humble
you're wrong,
you, basically.
and humble you, innit?
Yeah.
And I personally think for what I've achieved, I'm kind of humble. Like, I've just sold all my cars and I'm driving an electric car at the minute.
So you sold all your cars?
Yeah, I've got rid of all my cars, man, because I felt like I was...
Did you get rid of the SLS as well?
No, that's parked up. That's
yeah.
not mine. That's Brody's. I bought that for Brody.
Is it?
Yeah, that don't get driven. That's parked up somewhere. That's forgotten about.
What are you saying? When he's 17 and gets his license, SLS?
No. It's all about the value on them things,
No, 100%,
innit?
100%.
But I have to pull myself away from things sometimes because I do get a bit excited of where I'm going, and I'm like, yeah, we're having it off, and I'll go and buy something, and then I ain't happy after a week with it. So Georgia don't gas me up about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And never has done. Do you know what I'm saying? So that works for me. Having Georgia there works for me. She does put me in my place. She humbles me and she'll tell me I'm wrong. She don't always go, well done. She don't do that to me. So imagine having someone that's constantly going, well done. It'd be like being at work a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So Georgia just talks to me about normal life. She gives me that little bit of thing. So... yeah, man.
That's what you want.
Don't put no pressure on it.
How come you sold up all your cars in? G-Wagon gone as well?
No, everything's gone.
How comes?
Because you have to have a reset. And what it is
why?
for me, I'll tell you the actual reason behind it, yeah? So, when the fuel prices are going up,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
this ain't about me putting the petrol in the car, because, bruv, it don't make no difference to me, money-wise, yeah? If you're driving a 200 grand car, don't matter, does it?
No.
For me... is when I pull up at the petrol station and you've got my man struggling to put a tenner in his car to get to work, do I want to be pulling up in a 200 grand motor, jumping out, putting a tour in the car and jumping back in? No, man. That's not what I want to be. I want to be relatable. I want to be able to come across as a normal person. I've done well and I've got money, but in these next few years that are going to be tough, I don't want to be rubbing it in people's faces because that's when the hate starts, man. I don't want that. I want to be relatable. But I say hello to everyone where I live in the mornings. I'll go in my local cafe and I talk to everyone. Like, do I want to be rolling up when people are moaning about their electricity bills doubling so they're skint and I'm pulling up in a tour car? Yes, I deserve to be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to give me no hate. I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm doing it for myself. I just think that in these times, I want to lead by example, and I still want to stay in that relatable part. And I feel like I was becoming a little bit unrelatable to the people I had around me.
Do you think you care a lot about what other people think about you?
100%.
Why?
Because
Apart from being relatable.
Because I'm a nice person, innit? And
Yeah,
that's
you
what
are,
I care.
100%.
No, that's what I want. I want to be nice. I don't want to.
But don't you think at the same time that the people that you work with and the people that you know, as long as they know you're nice, then don't need to really worry about what other people think
I
about
don't
you?
care about any. Look, it's different for me. As a person, I want to be as good as I can, and I want to leave this world knowing that I've made a difference for people. Yeah. Do I care what anyone says to me on Instagram? I can't give a fuck, mate. Sorry about swearing.
No, you can swear.
No, I don't like it because I watch a few interviews and I don't like some of the way people talk sometimes, innit? You got to try and be articulate, innit?
Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes putting a little swear word
No,
in there
don't
gives it
worry
a bit
about it.
more
I've been
passion
doing
than
it
that.
years, innit? But all it is I don't care when anyone thinks of me to an extent, but I'm still trying to run a brand. I've got a show. I've got a TV show with my missus, and there's a million shows where everyone's flaunting wealth. That's not me and her. So why do I need to do it? That's not me. It don't make me happy, man. So I do care what people think to me to an extent. I want people to think that I'm grounded and levelled. But if people want to be hate against me, I couldn't give a shit, mate. I actually ain't bothered. Do not give a fuck, mate.
That's mad.
I'm at the point where I do not give a fuck about what anyone thinks of me. But I want them to, without contradicting myself, I want the people around me, my wider network, to look at me and go, do you know what? His mum done a good job. He stayed relatable. He's doing a good thing for his community and things like that. Anything else apart from that, I don't give a fuck.
Don't really matter.
I don't care, mate. Why?
That's mad.
Do you think I give a fuck what you think of me?
Probably not.
I don't.
No.
I don't. Not at all. But I'd like to know that I set a good example for you and you thought I was a nice person.
100%, yeah.
But I don't, if you've got...
You're not going to get beaten up over if I say,
No,
you know,
because
I don't
you
really
might
like
leave an interview with me and go, he ain't what I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
But that don't bother me because this is me.
Yeah.
Everything's peeled back here. This is me. You sit in front of me now. So hopefully you leave and you ring your bird from and say Tommy's a lovely geezer, I'm a bit inspired. But if you ring her and say I'm a wanker, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's how you have to be.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, isn't it?
No, 100%. That is mad when you think about it. But you know what? I'd never get disappointed when I see someone on social media. I meet them in real life and the exact same person. There's never any disappointment there. But some people, you meet them in person, and then you see the social media side of them and the real life side of them completely different. That's when you get the disappointment.
And that's why I'm like this.
Yeah.
Because I've met so many people and after thought, oh my God, what a wanker. Keep you away from me. I don't want you nowhere near me. I'm never going to out these people, but I'm talking about high profile people, middle profile people, and I've left them and I felt disappointed because I always like these people from what I see from the outside. And when I met them, I thought, oh, you didn't stop talking about yourself. Go away, man. You ain't even that interested. Why are you talking about yourself that much? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever met like your people that you were inspired by growing up and stuff?
No.
Without obviously saying names, but like almost
I
like
weren't inspired by anyone growing up.
No?
I was just inspired to do better to where I was.
So then the people that you'd necessarily be talking about in those sort of situations, yeah?
Just people from like TV hosts, presenters.
Okay.
People that like are local heroes and national heroes.
Yeah.
And you meet them, you're like, we know each other, yeah? We're on the same TV channel.
Yeah.
When I see you, don't turn your nose up to me. And what happened is it all changed in 2019. And I was at the NTAs, yeah?
What's that?
The National TV Awards.
Okay, yeah.
And everyone's there, from small to big.
Yeah.
Everyone's there. And for all these years, no one's ever spoken to me. And it was the first year that I got recognised for something like NatWest Entrepreneur of the Year Awards or Forbes, whatever it was. Everyone started talking to me. It was well uncomfortable. George was like, these people blank us. Why are they chatting to you now? And I turned up. I didn't wear a suit. I wore this big, long Burberry Mac. I had like a Fendi roll neck on. I turned up completely different to how everyone was dressed.
Yeah.
And people was come up to me, chatting to me, talking to me. Like Jeremy Kyle coming over saying hello.
Is it?
Jeremy Kyle normally blanked me. Jeremy, if you're watching this, I forgive you, whatever, man. But you're unemployed anyway at the minute. But he used to come over. He used to blank me. But then he said hello to me. And I was like, what? What's going on? So like, them sort of things there is where I started realising how fickle things are. So I have to, it's my duty to try and remain grounded and be normal because I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. That when someone comes across you, that's different.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that is mad when you think about it. How do you think TOWIE shifted you as a person then? From when you started, you're still doing TOWIE now, aren't you?
No, I've not been on TOWIE for years. I've got my own show.
You got Baby Steps with Georgia, right?
Yeah.
But then wasn't you saying with on Lewis' podcast that you got another season of TOWIE coming out?
No. So what I do with TOWIE is I stepped away from TOWIE years ago.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to be one of them people that leave reality TV and go, I'm better than that. So I'm like, look, TOWIE, give me a platform to build what I've built today.
Yeah.
I'm never going to go against it. I always think it's excellent for what it's done for people. If they ever need me, ring me. I've got love for the channel, innit?
There was quite a few wealthy people in TOWIE as well, right? Yeah. So when you were there and you're looking at all these other wealthy people that you're surrounded by as well, how did that make you feel? Did that have any impact on you? You didn't give a shit?
Depends what you define wealth, innit? What do you define wealth as? Financially?
Happiness? Not necessarily. Because the thing is, people can sugarcoat the happiness and make it seem like they're a lot happier on the outside, so you'll never actually really know.
When you're with people 24/7, you can see through it, man.
Is it?
Yeah. The perception of wealth on TOWIE isn't what it actually is. No one's wealthy on TOWIE.
No?
Might have a few quid,
from the outside.
but there ain't like... If wealth to you is what, £1 million in the bank?
Yeah.
No.
Not at all.
No.
That's mad.
There's a selected, and me and Arj was chatting about this yesterday, because Arj come and linked me yesterday, and he was like, "Oh man, like how mad is it all these years on?" And he's like reminiscing. It's done us well in the end, didn't it? Because a few of us have got a few properties and things like that, and it's like a bunch of people have done really well out of it and really use it to their advantage. But then there's people who are still on there who are doing really well for themselves. You never turn your nose up at a decent job. But TOWIE's more so a job. So that wealth factor of it ain't really there no more.
How's it all work then? Do they tell you got to be here this time?
Yeah,
this place,
so it's
everything?
like, it's reality, but they'll say, all right, so the meeting point's 11:30 tomorrow. You get there, the cameras are set up, and then you bump into the other cast members, and then you start chatting.
So it's all just like natural. It's never scripted, anything like that.
It's not scripted, nah.
Okay.
There'll be points to, if, for example, imagine you're doing a podcast and it's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this ain't.
No.
Say this is shit.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, you'll turn the camera off, or you're going to have a pause. Listen, mate, can we cover this, and this? Because this ain't really going where I want it to go. That obviously, you got producers
like
to do that.
innit? Yeah.
Direction's involved in it, but apart from that, there's nothing else to it.
Yeah.
It's me and my mates who talking about what we done on Saturday night. That's how it was. In the early days, that's exactly where it was. Who's cracking on with who's up to this, who's beefing who. That's what it was. I'd walk into a place and I'd see someone, and then that's it, I'm going off with them.
Yeah.
And then like what you didn't see is there'd be bouncers. Me and Lockie, I love Lockie to bits. I've never spoken about this. Me and Lockie have always had this relationship. We're like brothers, but we hated each other for years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd kick off with me and Lockie, and there'd be bouncers running in holding us. And every scene me and Lockie were involved in, there'd be two bouncers there. You never see the bouncers, but sometimes we'd be having murders and we'd go, like that. And we'd be getting pinned on the floor and shit.
That's when they're like, cut.
Cut. And then after me, they would be laughing. Going, mate, what are we doing for each other, man? So like, them parts of my, I'll never regret what I've done. I loved every minute of it. Thank you, TOWIE. I ain't gone up my own arse. I respect everyone that's been involved. I respect everyone that's been in my journey.
Now, to be fair, you can't see that because, even though you're not involved in TOWIE, you're still on the same channel. You know, essentially.
But listen, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to leave TOWIE to become a presenter.
Yeah.
I've left TOWIE and built up a majorly successful business. So I don't have any ego. Ain't like, I don't want it. I went on TOWIE. Mate, I was on TOWIE. I launched my business on TOWIE. I filmed 6 days a week while I was on TOWIE. And I launched my business in between that. That makes my story even more important. Like, I was filming every single day and launching my business and working.
How hard was that?
Mate, it was the hardest thing ever. I'd be filming one day with like Arch.
Yeah.
And then 30 minutes later, I'd be in my warehouse in Leighton packing the boxes for online orders.
Your warehouse was in Leighton, yeah?
Yeah, man.
First, okay.
Yeah. So like
5 minutes from the gas.
Yeah. From Leighton, that's where we was at. So all of them parts of my journey are fun, man. Why am I ever gonna write off them bits? It's part of my book.
Yeah.
That from start to finish, I don't regret nothing.
I don't think you can.
Only things I regret in my life is the way that I've dealt with some situations, the way I've spoken to people.
Such as?
I can't pinpoint it because there's been so much. But when I've been through hard times, maybe I've spoke to people in the wrong way and I shouldn't have done it. And I always regret that. I always regret the way that I've spoken to some people.
But do you ever speak to the people after and say, listen, I'm sorry
I always admit when I'm wrong. I always hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
But maybe I've fucked up relationships with people because the pressure of the show and the business and people's egos. And you could be best friends with someone and make you fall out of them. And I regret things like that because I had such good memories with so many good people on that show.
Yeah, great relationships.
And I didn't talk about it for the last few years because I was building this and I didn't want to always talk about TOWIE. But when I talk about it, it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's good memories, isn't it? I mean, that was from when you were 21.
Mate, and until I announced the birth of my baby on there.
Yeah. I saw that.
What I'm saying?
That was was it your one where you and George were there and there was
that was on TOWIE.
Yeah.
And listen, for the last 3 years of me doing TOWIE, I'd gone clear. I didn't have to do TOWIE. I'd done it to support my missus. And that was where it really become hard for me.
Did she want to continue with TOWIE, right?
That was her job.
Okay.
I had Mallet, and Mallet had hit the ground running, like got to the point where it was going really well.
Yeah.
And then Georgia was still on the show. And I wanted to support her. I wanted to show that we were still strong. So I carried on doing TOWIE. And it was hard work, man.
I can imagine, bro, because then at that point, that's when your business is booming,
and
right?
I don't care about what anyone's talking about. I don't give a fuck what happened in Faces on Saturday. Do you know what I'm saying? Who cares? Who get hold of who? I don't give a fuck, mate. Can we talk power moves? So I got to that point where that's where I sort of regret I should have left because
it's a different mindset then at that point, isn't it?
My mindset changed.
Because now you're looking at elevation and growth.
And I love and respect everyone that I've met along the way.
Yeah.
I've got not a bad word to say about anyone I've met along the way.
When you were in TOWIE, you were using that to your advantage to build Mallet.
Of course.
So would you say that the celebrity status helped build the brand?
Listen, in some of the countries I'm in, they don't even talk English, bruv. So they ain't fucking TOWIE fans.
Yeah.
South Africa definitely don't watch TOWIE. America maybe a little bit. Nah. I think what it done was it gave me the platform for me to have a following behind me to get in front of the right people. And it took me places where I couldn't afford impress-wise.
Yep.
But when it comes to why it hit the ground and why it started smashing it, is because the design, the development, the way it was run, the persistence. There's no one more persistent than me. You've never seen me take an off few months. I've always been hammering it for 7 years. If you hammer something for 7 years, you're going to do well with it.
100%.
There's no secret behind it. That's the secret. If you put everything into something and you hammer it for 7 years, you've got to be very, very, very unlucky for you not to make a success out of it. And that's where my success come down to. I took people who needed opportunity. I taught people stuff. I made people feel like they was part of the company. It was theirs. That's how I done it. The whole TOWIE part of it probably made it a little bit harder for me because there was that the reality stigma, and it took a lot of personal development and for me to talk about my story on certain things for people to go, actually, you know what? He's one of us. He ain't just a reality star. So the reality thing was a blessing and a curse at the same time. But as I said, it's a massive part of my life, and I love everything about it.
At what point then did you decide that you needed a team? Because obviously, like you said, towards the end of TOWIE, you were going clear. You didn't need to be on TOWIE, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming at that point you had a team there to run stuff.
Yeah, I started building a team from probably year 2.
Is it? Okay.
Part-timers come and help me in the warehouse and things like that.
Yeah.
And then when we started doing sales and getting into stores, then you start developing. Like, we've got a lot of people now who work for me.
Where was the first store that you had? Not Mallet store, but
Choice in Westfield.
Is it?
Yeah,
what,
Stratford
one.
Yeah. And we went in there on a Friday and we become the best seller in like the month after, like the Friday, the best seller. Yeah, and we have been since. We've always been the best seller.
Yeah.
It's never been a shoe that's beat us.
And then where after that?
A lot of independently owned businesses, and then we started working with Flannels, and then we started working with like Selfridges, then we got Harrods, Harvey Nichols, then we stopped working with certain people, and just before we knew it, man, we had hundreds of stores.
So as a business perspective, what I'm trying to understand here is, how do you know where and when to expand?
You don't. You've got to let it happen naturally.
Yeah.
Got to let it happen. If you feel like you're ready to do it, and you are. So.
Do you get approached by the stores or do you approach the stores?
Nah, I was hammering it, man. I was like working with different people. I wanted introductions. I was walking around with suitcases with shoes in it with my partner at the time, like going through Amsterdam on the cobble streets with this thing and the wheel would fall off and we'd be knocking on doors. Can you sell our products? Mate, it's just, don't rush the journey, man. You only get the first few years of the journey, which is exciting. Because when it becomes corporate, it's not as exciting.
No.
It's stressful. You got to take all these HR, certain bits and pieces. You're a different person. But when you actually ain't got nothing to lose at the start, it's the fun, innit? It's the best part.
How many people work within Mallet now?
I don't know.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
Of course.
So obviously you got different stores and then you got...
Yeah, no, we've got a lot of staff now that work for us, yeah, man. There's a lot. I don't know.
So even though it is pressure and it is stress, don't you feel like, wow, sort of thing? Not at all. You still prefer it to the old days to now? Even though obviously...
Ups and downs, innit? There's
Yeah.
ups and downs. You sort of get to the point is when you're opening stores, you clap for 5 minutes and then where's the next one? But at the start, you sort of was like gassed because you're like, oh my God, we've got our first store.
Yeah.
It just ends up like being, when you'd probably done your first guest, it was gassed. And then, listen, you've spoke to some big hitters. So obviously, the progression that you're going through now is probably the most exciting part. They all become being the same thing after a while, man. The stores are stores. You say yes with a team. Collaborations are the way forward for me.
I hear that. That's why, in my instance, that's why I really want to go to America or out of the UK, man, because I just feel like UK's... It's obviously, there's different stories and everything, I know, but you do hear a lot of the same stuff at times because everyone kind of has the same upbringing. UK is tiny, you know what I mean?
Small, man.
So like, everyone's got a very similar upbringing.
Yeah,
but you go to America, people... Like it's a complete different society, different community.
I think once we hit the States up during COVID and we smashed it over there, that was a big turning point for my career. That's when I turned around and took it a lot more serious. I think I was like, wow.
Why is that?
Because England's so small, man.
Yeah.
Look what we've achieved in the UK. America's like, what? How many times? 10 times bigger or something.
Oh, more than that. Way probably, I don't even know, 100 times. I want to say.
Like population wise, I think there's like how many people? I don't
even know.
I don't even want to put myself on the spot for that. It's a madness, yeah.
Someone tell us in the comments.
When you get serious, when you start getting serious and you start looking at all these bits and pieces, yeah, you're like, wow, England's cool and it's unbelievable and there's diehard spenders here, yeah. But when you hit the States and you actually see how many people there and the amount of different states and how different people are in like Miami compared to LA, you're like, wow, I need a bigger team here, man. I can't do this by ourselves no more. Like, we need people on research. We need people on marketing there. We need people on PR over there. We need warehouses there. We've done all of that now. And that's where the stress is. Because how do you recruit for that sort of stuff?
How do you manage it as well?
I don't know.
No? Because obviously, so you're saying you've got a team in America, right?
No, Bob, I don't know how I manage. I honestly don't know. We manage, but I don't know how.
Truly speaking, do you need to be here?
Yeah.
Why? Because you got a team.
Yeah, but
you could be in one of two positions. What you're doing right now, exactly. You're still in the business, right? Or you could be the owner, but you have a CEO in place, and you're on the back.
Because I don't think there's anyone as good as me.
Yeah.
I couldn't hire someone as good as me.
But the argument to that would be that there's always someone who's got a better skill set and stuff.
No problem, but if they got my hunger,
it's your brand at the end of the day, innit?
Even if it won't, I'm on a mission. This ain't work. If you listen, we'll get to the stage where we have to hire more. We'll probably hire bigger people and better people. But when I sit down with these bigger and better people, they're looking at me like, oh my God, this guy is so switched on. And I'm like, do you know what? I'm actually quite confident that I'm meant to be where I am today. And I love it. It's my baby, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm Mallet. Like, imagine I weren't here. It's like, Mal, I'm here. I like to encourage staff. I like to keep adjusting the journey to show people where we're going. You got to be careful in the early days that you keep that hunger. I don't want it to become too much of a corporate yet, because you still have to be able to react fast. You still have to be able to be relatable. You still have to be accessible to an extent. And that's what I want to do. I want to launch foundations for younger kids. I want to give back to my communities. I want my staff to have the right morals where we have to interact with our customers in good ways. People at the minute ain't got money, so how do we adapt to that? I'm going to go and put it into someone that don't really give a shit. All they care about is what the figures are, because you lose the identity of the company. Mm-hmm. And the identity of this company is everything to me. And when that starts changing, we just become another brand. And that's our USP at the minute. Our USP is it's inspirational for people out there to look at what we're achieving and they feel part of the journey. If we stop talking about that and there's just a CEO that's come from a big, massive corporation, you end up talking about pension schemes instead of where we come from.
Yeah.
So I'm more so looking around like, all right, what's people wearing? Like, how can we maximise that opportunity? Or, all right, what's going on in Tottenham at the minute? What's going on in East? What's going on in South? Like, I'm connected to all of these people, so I'm watching what's going on. And for me, that's where the success is at the minute.
The brand's got a lot of DNA.
The brand's got DNA, man. All the shoe names are named after streets where I grew up.
Is it?
Everything is. None of this is fluked, man. This is all planned. These are all named after streets that I walked down on this journey. So I started off on Elmore Street. I started off on Popham. Then I ended up on Elmore Street. Then I walked down Holloway to get to school. And then I diverted back and went to Angel. Then I ended up in Hoxton because I used to hang around in Hoxton. Then I walked down New North Road to get to Southgate Road. Every single shoe is linked to my journey of me walking somewhere.
That's mad. I didn't even know that.
So you're living my journey. When you're wearing my shoes, yeah, I've walked through this journey. The whole thing has been so thought about to certain... I had PE that day when I was down that show. I used to box in that place, so I wore high tops, so the high tops are called that. All of it's linked. All of it's linked to, all right, that one there looks really, really gritty, so let me learn that after the council estate that we was cutting around on. Or that bit's a bit more well-to-do. All right, we'll call that the Canonbury, because the Canonbury was where the rich people lived where we grew up, and that's a bit more expensive. Every single part of this brand, the DNA cannot be replicated.
No, that's Tommy Mallet. It
can't be replicated.
That is
How
mad.
can you replicate something like this?
You can't. Bruv, I didn't even know that. That is sick.
And every time I look at someone, I feel like I sound mad. Don't think I'm a nutter because I'm in a really calm mood today. You got me in a calm day. I sit there and selfishly sometimes watching people buy my shoes. And I'm looking at them, and then I'll look at their mum, and then I'll think, I wonder what their mum does. I wonder what that kid's story is. And I'll go, hey, let me buy them for you.
Do they know who you are? Or
Not always.
Yeah.
I'm buying them for you today. Happy birthday. Can I ask you a little bit about yourself? What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking? I'm a single parent. Okay. What's the occasion of you buying this shoe? What does this mean to you today if you're getting these pairs of shoes? How long have you waited for them? What do you think of the packaging? You can store this packaging. It's going to last ages. I've made sure it's really hard wearing so you can shut it off in your bedroom like I used to when I was a kid.
So do you, in that scenario, do you introduce yourself as the owner, or do you just say
just
basically
asking,
stranger?
I'm
or
asking
like,
for a friend,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
they know I am or not.
Yeah,
I get a
yeah.
lot of dirty looks and people tell me to fuck off all the time. I stop people in the street and go, what's in your bag? What have you bought from that shop? I do that stuff. And that interaction, I come home to my team, go, yo, listen to this. I done this today, this today, this today. And they're like, I'm going, you writing this down? They're like, yeah. I'm like, let's implement it, let's go. And then the next day I'm on something else. So when I lose that, the brand can just be a normal brand. But until I do, it's going to carry on like this.
that is a crazy thing. I didn't even know that. That's how much of the DNA is implemented into the brand. But when this podcast ends, I need to pick up a pair of whichever one do you recommend.
Throw me the Popham.
You put one on your story or post the other day. Which ones are these? These ones?
This is the Popham, yeah?
Yeah.
I grew up in Popham. My dad was a postman. My mum was a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
It's an estate in Islington.
That looks so clean as well on the sole.
It's an
where it says
estate in
Mallet.
Islington. It's got some rugged areas in it, yeah?
Yeah.
It's got bars on all the windows and all the doors. You can't just get in, yeah? The people from there was rough around the edges, yeah? My school in the middle, is for it being in like a rough area, they had a soft touch to me in that school that I went to. The teachers had a really soft touch. They knew how to deal with us. They knew that we was going to be naughty kids. So look, it's so smoothie, yeah? But look how rugged it is there.
So it's not
And
just
look at
the-
that part there. Look at that really closely. Can you see the lines in it?
yeah.
What does that look like to you? It looks like bars.
Yeah, so it's not just the name of where you grew up, it's the whole story
whole
of that
thing
sort of
behind
thing.
it. This is the Popham. This is the estate that I was born on.
Let me see it if you don't mind. Yeah, and that's a beautiful trainer as well, man.
I've sold thousands of pairs of them, and I can switch it up at any time. Like there's a million things. Like these shoes tell so many different stories. They're my babies. They're like there's things over there. Like the one over there is called the Bentham. Yeah.
Which one are we looking at?
Throw us over that one over there, Cal, if you don't mind. Sorry, that one there. This one over here is called the Bentham, right? So we've made this shoe, and it's a court shoe. Bentham is an estate that we used to hang around on called Bentham Court. But it had like a playing thing attached to the side of it, which we used to play in. So for me, that attached to the fingers, I can name it that. So this is the Bentham Court. It's low, it's smooth, it's easy wearing. And that reminded me of the childhood there. It was just easy. I got on with everyone around there. There weren't no mad direction to the area. There weren't no rough, like I felt comfortable there. And it's a comfortable shoe. It's a tennis inspired shoe. So it's called a court shoe. So I've brought the story back to Benton from Court on that. All of these little bits and pieces, you can go and do whatever you want. You can put London all over your stuff. But if you put them coordinates that's on that t-shirt into Google, it's going to drop you straight in the middle of Angel Islington, where I bought my first ever pair of shoes.
Is it?
Who's got a brand identity like that? Come on.
You thought about everything to a T.
Think about mate, I'm obsessed with this. When I see people on telly wearing my product, I slow it down and watch how they're walking to see how their foot's hitting the ground, to see if there's a comfortability factor to it. When I saw Floyd Mayweather wears my stuff and he was showing his car collection round, and I see when he was walking, like, his step was going a bit too rough on the thingy, so I mended that shoe after watching his live story. I weren't gassed about him wearing it. I was thinking, how can I make that look easier there? And he looked taller, so I knew that like, I was just looking at all these little bits and pieces. Look, I think about, it ain't all about how can we be portrayed as a fashion company. It's all about the story. Because without the story, the identity's gone. And the identity of the brand is the most important thing. Because the people looking at me with eyes on have come from the same background. They're aspiring to be someone. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
I want to ask you something then, yeah? I'm really intrigued to know. I can see you're so passionate and you love Mallet more than anything, right? And a lot of people do have exit plans for the business. And me sitting here, just off this conversation, I don't see you exiting or selling it. I see you either, Brody taking over at some point, but I don't see you selling that. Do you have any sort of exit plan for it or? Listen,
I'll be honest with you, yeah? There comes a point, and everyone goes through this point, where financially, I'd love to be able to... I know I'm comfortable, yeah? I'm not rich. Well, I am. In loads of other aspects of my life. I'm wealthy. I've paid my taxes. I've really worked hard, man. And I get times where I get tired and I get a bit emotional about not seeing my family as much. But this thing is everything to me, man. It's everything to me, this company, mate. Everything. The direction that I've taken it. The people, the way I'm talking to people. The thing this is doing to people and the inspiration it's giving people on a day-to-day who know they're from my area, they're Londoners, they've seen what I've done. I've got a duty to carry on. But I've been mentally tortured for a few years and I've always said to myself, I need to give myself a little bit of time for me to focus on myself. So I'm always bringing in people I can trust and people, and it's trial and error, who I can hire to take care of certain roles. The more people I bring in, the more inspired they're getting. So then I end up doing the role with them because I love doing it with them. We get so excited. My exit plan is this year. When I stop having this love and passion for it, then the company's gone. I sell it. I hope I don't lose it. But I feel like God's got plans for whatever I'm going to do in my life, yeah? Mm-hmm. And I won't go... I ask God a million things a day. I pray constantly. I pray all the time. So if one day I wake up and there's an offer on the table and it feels right at the time, in the next 10, 20 years, that might be my path. I'm not going to go against it. But I've got so much more that I want to do at the minute, and I'm pure in love with this. And maybe do I put it on the stock market so everyone has believed in me over the years can then invest in it and then be more on the journey? I don't know. But I don't write anything off because my life's written, innit? And it depends what your beliefs are. My beliefs are my life's written for me.
Of course,
yeah. And what will happen for me is been put in front of me for a reason. But at the minute, I feel like I'm on a roll. I'm really, really winning. I've been winning for years. I'm going to continue winning. I'm going to continue helping people. It's a big part of my life, helping people. I'm going to continue making people feel like they're worth it. I'm going to continue telling my story through this amazing, amazing journey that we're rolling. And maybe there's going to be times when people come in and I'm going to sit back and go, you know what, I'm happy. Do I think that's going to be soon? Fucking no, mate. No chance. But I'm never going to write anything off. Ever. But listen, this is my life, man. This is my life, mate. When I'm not doing this, I don't feel happy, man. Like, I honestly don't feel happy unless I'm doing this. It ain't about the money no more for me. It's about testing myself.
Have you ever tried to take a step back?
I don't want to take a step back.
But you never tried. Like,
I don't want to.
No?
Why?
Just because sometimes you
Alright, sweet. Have a day off tomorrow. I'll direct your podcast for you. Give me that t-shirt now. We'll swap t-shirts. I'll direct your podcast. I'll do the direction of your podcast for the next 2 years. I'll take it where I want it and come back in 2 years and we'll see how we get on. You want to do that?
No.
Why not?
Because of my podcast.
Exactly. It's part of your life. Go do the Highlands or whatever it is. I'll go and run your podcast. You're going to let me do it? Can I replace you?
No.
Why not?
Because it's ingrained in me.
It's you.
Is me.
It's you.
Yeah.
So imagine I taking it away from you. What are you living for?
Nothing.
For money.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do with the money? Buy the same shit that I've been doing for fucking 10 years? No. It ain't about that.
There's more to life than money.
What's money?
Nothing.
You can lose it all tomorrow. Fuck money. But if this all stops tomorrow, can you finish your book?
No.
I'm not even quarter way through. The book's going to be shit. Who the fuck's going to read my book?
Who's going to
I ain't finished.
Yeah.
I ain't finished. I've got so many more scores to settle here, man. So much more to give. Fuck the money. Fuck the turnover. I don't care what we're turning over. I don't care. I want to know that someone wakes up in the morning and puts my shoe on and feels good. And someone's investing into my story. That's what I care about. The rest is irrelevant, man. Like, we can tell this story 500 times over and I can remix it, yeah? But every month I can add something onto this story. And a lot of it's going to be failure. But if I'm not failing, I'm not learning, so I don't want to be involved in it. Like, what am I going to be with sitting there with 100 million in the bank? What? Yeah. What? When I sat there with Lewis Morgan, yeah? And I was like, listen, your P's are strong, yeah? You've got more dough than me today. And he was like, yeah, but you are off your head. You are off your head. Your confidence and passion is something I've never felt before, yeah? When I spoke to him, he told me he'd invested every penny of his money. Mm-hmm. He's so normal as a person. Yep. He's a good geezer. And I'm like, wow, that's £100 million.
You would never
That's
think.
50 million quid, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what that guy is there. For me, I'm like, wow, that's where I want to be. I just want to keep going, man. Got a lot to give.
He's Lewis is very humble, very normal geezer.
So humble.
And you would never ever, like, if you didn't know obviously who he was and you were just having a normal conversation with him on the street, bumped into him, you'll never think he's like gone clear
Never.
like that.
Ever.
You know what I'm saying?
Ever.
But that's the beauty about it.
Exactly. And that guy there is still investing and still carrying on and still learning, yeah? So I'm like, I don't want to just go and retire. I want to go so much further than this, man. Like, I love listening to this flushing noise in this place every day because it like wakes me up and I'm like, look where we are, man. We grew up 5 minutes from here. We had fuck all when we grew up. Look where we are. Like, this ain't even, this is England. Imagine, I want this in America. I want this in Canada. I want this in Australia. I want to give opportunities everywhere. I want to go off on a note where everyone's like, yeah, that guy's actually done something and left something.
Smacked it, yeah.
That's what I want, man.
Before we wrap up this podcast, right, I'm going to ask you a question off the back of that. From being here, and then obviously you moved out of the area, right? And now you're back here with Mallet, and you got your shop in Soho. Obviously, you're selling all over the world. What's that feeling like going from
familiar?
Familiar? What do you mean?
It was going to happen.
Is it?
Yeah.
You just knew from day one?
I didn't doubt myself once. And I don't never doubt myself.
So you...
I doubt my decisions sometimes of the way that I've dealt with things and always put it right. But I know where this is going. It's going further than anything you've ever seen, mate. It's like, if you're on board now or you'll get on board in a few years, where this is going is uncontrollable. It's meant to be where it is. It's the strongest, most powerful thing that come out of this country in a long time. Mark my words. There's no ego attached to this no more. It's all about interacting with customers, growing, not becoming complacent, giving opportunities, and pushing as far as we can as a team. We ain't going there and trying to do no photo shoots so everyone can go, look at them, look how edgy and cool they are at Paris Fashion Week. We ain't doing that. We're sitting on the street watching builders, thinking, I wonder what he wears on the weekend. I wonder what that taxi driver's rocking. And as we're thinking, he goes, beep, beep, Mallet. And you go, oh, son, what's happening? That's how I feel. I didn't feel any other way about this brand when I started it, that it was only going to go to the top. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm not going to stop until it's there, no matter what it goes through. So, bruv, the best is yet to come, man. And I'll do this again in a year, and then we can go through the achievements we've done in a year, and you'll be mind blown. And that's where we're at.
That's the most realist answer I've heard. Because see, when I started my podcast, people ask me like, "How's it feel knowing you got like, I don't know how many subscribers, 65,000 subscribers now, something, yeah? How's it feel and all that sort of stuff?" And I'm just like, I knew it though.
I knew it.
I knew it would have happened anyway. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
I've been documenting things for years before we had any stores. I've got an archive of me talking about how powerful the brand's going before we had it.
Have you put it out there? That archive?
There's bits and pieces, but there'll be a point where I will launch something, will help this next generation and believe in themselves, and you can do anything. Jamal Edwards, God rest his soul, yeah?
Yeah, rest in peace.
Was one of the main things that taught me how far self-belief can go. Mm-hmm. And I get upset talking about it because
he was Mr. Self-Belief himself.
He taught me that before I believed in it. He showed me it. And he used to big me up so much to people, man. And I'd be like, bruv, I'm not that guy. Why are you bigging me up so much? And then do you know what? I am that guy. He was right what he said about me. I have got what it takes to get rid of the stigma of that guy from reality TV. I can come from where I come from and smash it. I can change the way I am as a person. I can, I can do whatever I want in this planet. I ain't gonna limit myself in any way. I'm not gonna start popping bottles every weekend, celebrating the wins, because I'm working on the next one when I find out, oh lovely, yeah, we got there, but I'm working on this one now. And he taught me that. And I've got a lot of eyes on me of people who have believed in me for me to take it further. So this ain't nothing, man. Honestly, if you come with me for a day and see what goes through my head, you'd be scared.
I was just going to say that I do want to see you at a time when you're basically full on work mode. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just to see how you are. Because obviously right now, like
we wouldn't be able to have this conversation.
Nah, but I'll just be inspired by the way you act and the
cool.
way you are.
You're welcome here anytime. And anything you ever want as a brand, that's what we're about. We want to grow to be able to support people like ourselves. And we want to support people's journeys going forward. And we want to show people that we're still very much grounded to what we started out to do. So anything we can offer as a brand perspective to support you going forward, holler us. You got the team details.
I appreciate that.
And take us up on the offer, innit?
Yeah.
And if we can't do it, I'll tell you no.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about, supporting each other, innit?
No, 100%.
Congratulations on all your success, brother. Smashed it. Well done.
Keep likewise, bro. You're smashing it as well. I genuinely do really want to have a part 2 of you, but the thing is, I don't know when, because things are just going to constantly move for you. So it's like we could do a part 2 next year, but then you might be like, Raheem, wait 1 more month.
Don't put a time on it, man.
No, I don't want to put a time on it. I think when the time is right,
it all happens,
right.
Innit?
Yeah.
When I've got a few massive, and this is an exclusive. I've got some huge. Can I tell him? I'm not going to say what it is. We've got some huge announcements coming.
Yeah.
Huge.
When can people expect the announcements?
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
And you can come and cover our launch parties, and you can come and do them sort of things there. We've got some fucking things coming up which are going to blow the roof off. Which only God knows how.
Any clues and hints? Because I can't be left on a cliffhanger, man. No, nothing?
Well, to be continued, innit?
All right, cool.
And don't put no ads in this to start putting people on cliffhangers, yeah? We've got some things coming up now which are absolutely insane. And the only thing I'm going to say, he couldn't scream London anymore.
Is it?
That's the end of this podcast. I'm not saying anything more.
I can't even think about what it is myself.
No, don't worry about it. Let's end now because you're going to keep going. So,
yeah.
no, bruv, you ain't getting out of me, yeah? So just quit right ahead.
All right, well, in that case then, to everyone watching and listening, I hope you enjoyed this episode of CEOCAST. Tommy, I really want to appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We can finally get this done. It's been a great, amazing talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely want to do part 2.
Thanks for everyone watching and supporting us as well, yeah?
If you lot want to see a part 2 as well, smash 50,000 likes and we do it whenever in the future when we're both ready.
100%, brother. Even if there's no likes, I'll do it, man.
Nah, brother, we've got to get the likes, man. We've got to get the algorithm up somehow, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for having me, bro.
Tommy, appreciate that.
Thank you.